This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio. The lead stories are a college student got a top grade for an essay written with the help of ChatGPT. Lawsuit has been filed. Tesla must be punished for the tasteless sharing of car camera images. Apple feels the bite as Mac shipments fall 40.5%. And SpaceX Starship vehicle is ready to fly, just waiting for a launch license. I want to welcome you to episode 1663 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, April 10th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider, where you can make one-time donations, sign up to be an insider, send boosts to the show via the onboard interface. Go over to geeknewscentral.com/insider. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to new listeners. Thanks for being here. Of course, make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. When you're on the website, follow or subscribe to the podcast. That's right there on the right-hand column. Of course, get signed up for our newsletter. Our newsletter contains everything that I'm going to talk about today, delivered directly to your inbox immediately following the show. Of course, that is a great way to stay connected with the podcast. But if you want to send feedback directly, all you got to do is email me here at geeknews@gmail.com or at geeknews. You can even join our chat room. Our chat room is available at geeknews.chat. That's a Mastodon chat server, or our Discord channel. It's available via the link in the show notes. You can always follow me on Facebook as well. Partner shows are all available at geeknewscentral.com, whether it be the new media show, whether it be the Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain, the GNC Weekend Review with our executive producer Kirk and his co-host Scott. Definitely check out all those shows. Again, the link is available at the top of the webpage at geeknewscentral.com. This show, of course, is sponsored in part by our good friends at GoDaddy. GoDaddy is, I'm going to tell you, GoDaddy has been a great sponsor here for a very, very long time, and we want to thank them for their ongoing support. It is what makes this show possible. So get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy and definitely check out all the deals. 30% off on new product purchases. $4.99 for a brand new .com, new or transferred in for new customers only. $4.99 new or transferred in, again, for new customers. Or $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain. $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain. $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain as well. Those are the two best hosting deals on the planet. You can get a free trial of GoDaddy website builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. Again, all these codes can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Geek News Central listeners save an average of 94% on GoDaddy hosting accounts. 94%. So it's your time to save money and get connected. And definitely get over there and grab one of those great deals. We definitely appreciate GoDaddy for their ongoing support of the Geek News Central podcast. So, hey, first off and foremost, I must apologize. I thought my riddle rattle that was going in my right ear was a bad cable. I should not have assumed that. It was actually making it to the master audio. I went through today, worked on all the connections, and that usually means me pulling plugs out 2 or 3 times, getting the dust off them or whatever it was, running the potentiometers up and down and anything else. And I touched everything. So the riddle rattle is gone, but I may have tweaked a button a little too far here or there because the audio is not perfect, at least what I'm hearing. You might hear a little bit of pumping of audio, and then that might be from, I may have to make an adjustment to the compressor here before the next episode, but it's not completely bad. like it was. Again, I apologize. Really do not like ever have that happen, but the noise should be clean. There should be no noise for this particular show. So I'm prepared. Of course, this is the last show before I head to Vegas, out to the National Association of Broadcasters show, the NAB show. It's been beautiful weather here. I've had the windows open in the studio, had windows open at the house, letting things kind of air out. Man, it's been nice. And I can only knock on wood and hope that spring is really here. Yeah, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I really, really am. And time will tell. Of course, I'm sure we'll have a couple more cold days before that. But yeah, ready to, and it's just of course, about the time if the weather gets nice, I go and leave for Vegas. But again, no show this Thursday, next Monday, or next Thursday. Be 3 shows that I'm going to be out because of travel. And probably when I get back, I'm going to have to tweak on this thing a little bit. It'll give me the weekend to do that, make sure everything's dialed in here. It's good to go through and kind of make sure the audio chain is right because it's a little off. And I apologize really about that. Everything seems to be dialed in, but whenever I have to start turning knobs, then things get weird. But that's part of the reason why every once in a while something goes sideways because the knobs don't ever get tweaked in the least. So I've there was a article that I saw that actually I sent over to my legal to making sure that my team is of the understanding they should be careful. It is a it is a it is interesting that what ChatGPT said that they essentially, if you type something in their system, and I guess it is in the terms of service, so this should not become as a surprise. But if you type something into the ChatGPT text box, they can use anything you put in there as part of their learning model. And that's why I've been real careful about what I put in there. I don't want to put anything proprietary. I don't want to put no financial numbers, nothing in there that would make it learn something that it shouldn't. If you use the API, they don't use any of that data that you will use the API integration to train ChatGPT. But all of us that are typing stuff in, it is. So it's interesting from that standpoint to know that we now have really two situations where one, nothing is submitted, aka nothing goes to the API. I mean, nothing goes to the learning model where other stuff does. So the folks that basically don't have integration, don't have the ability to integrate via API, all their data is just going to be sucked up and used to train the system. So I think it should be noted, and you should use some caution if you're going to use ChatGPT, that whatever you put into it via the text interface, they can and will use that. And it leads to a story where a college student who said they got a top grade for an essay written with the help of ChatGPT anonymously should not come as a surprise. Well, there it goes. There's why is this audio doing this? I'm hearing it again. I am beside myself here. I don't know what's going on. It just drives me nuts. And now it's cleared up again. It's almost like I spoke louder and it cleared itself. I don't know what's happening. I apologize. We'll get this figured out. But anyway, a student at Cardiff University in Wales said he received a top grade on an essay written with the help of an OpenAI ChatGPT. He used an anonymous name, Tom, said he conducted an experiment with the AI. The student averages a 2.1 grade point, said he submitted one 2,500-word essay written with the help of ChatGPT and another without any help from the bot. For the essay he wrote himself, he said he received a low 2.1 grade. However, the AI assisted essay was given a first, the highest grade he'd ever been awarded per the report. He told BBC News he did not use a chatbot to write the essay in its entirety, but adapted and tweaked the content the chatbot generated. I didn't copy everything word for word, but I would prompt it with questions. It gave me access to information much quicker than usual, which is true. He added he was likely to use the bot to plan future essays. The schools and colleges, of course, have been trying to figure this out. And I don't think there's going to be any time soon that they're going to be able to fix this. So I think what's end up going to happen here is that at some point, college essays are going to become moot point, or colleges are just going to have to change the way they do things. What do the essays really do in colleges? They make you learn how to do research. They make you how to go find answers to questions and to form opinions. And ChatGPT is very good at finding information and forming an opinion and giving you an output of that. It's a perfect essay writer in a big, big way. And, you can tell it a series of questions and get 2,500 words pretty quickly. After all, I spent an hour and got 1,500 lines of code out of it on a plugin that I was thinking about. So what is this going to do? How is this going to change the fabric of everything? Are computers going to become banned and we're going to have to start using paper again? I don't know. What's the next piece on this? I think it's a question that colleges are going to have to really ramp up to figure out so that we don't end up with a bunch of bots or advance the human knowledge base. Because what we're doing in colleges is we're giving people the ability to form ideas and come up with making arguments. That way, when they enter society, they're able to analyze stuff and come up with their own opinion and to be able to come up with new ideas and to do research. And if you're having research papers written by a bot, who's advancing who? So it's going to be a fun time to see where all this leads. And Brian, thank you so much. Sats Life Podcast 2.0. Thank you so much for the advert there. I think of your show, yeah? Sats Life Podcast. Is that the name of a podcast? Let me know. Moving on here, obviously there is, let me just stop for a second here before we do move on. We are live and lit, and we did get 250 sats from Chris. He said, "Hey, Todd, thanks for another great show. Fountain has been fairly steady, earning sats to send to you. Some hiccups recently, but a good podcast app overall. Christian, longtime listener, can't remember when. Awesome. Got 1,000 sats from Bob. He said, "Hey, Todd, hope you have a happy Easter. Thanks for all you do." Bob from Dover. So thank you both for the Boostagram sats, the boosts that were sent. And both Chris and Bob were using the Fountain app. And we've got the boost, we got the thing listening for boost coming in. So if anyone's lit and live watching, you can boost away and send your messages and we'll hear it here on the show. There's a lawsuit that's been issued already. I knew this was coming. Tesla must be punished for tasteless sharing of car images. And plaintiff Henry Ye, a California resident who owns a Model Y, sued Tesla on Friday on behalf of himself and all other people in the U.S. who owned or leased a Tesla at any time in the past 4 years. The lawsuit draws some allegations in a Reuters article that we talked about in the last show that was based on an interview with 9 former Tesla employees that they said they shared images, some of those intimate. So we'll see whereas this goes. Because apparently, again, images were linked to locations with where the cars are at, scenes of intimacy, you name it. You can only imagine what happens in one's home, in one's garage, what could be filmed there where no cameras should be in the first place, or you wouldn't want them to be. Lots of people have cameras in their homes, but usually not in places where they're being intimate. They can be recorded. Apple feels the bite as Mac shipments fall 40.5%. This is a big drop, and as economics fail all over the world, m- again 40.5% year over year fall, and it's not only Mac. PC shipments fell 69, hit 56.9 million, down 29%. And Apple is the worst. Lenovo saw 30.3% drop. HP saw 24.2, Dell 31, and Asus 30.3. Well, probably what's happening is people are maybe looking at different types of computers. Maybe the PC market, the Windows market, wasn't hit as hard simply because there was maybe people switched to a Windows machine, spent less money. SpaceX Starship is ready to go, and they're targeting, if they get their licensing, uh, a week from today at 7 a.m. Boca Chica time, which is, I believe, Mountain. So if everything goes well, I might be able to watch the launch from Vegas. Keep my fingers crossed here. I'll be in Vegas for that launch. I have a show that day, but it'll be 6 a.m. or so. So I'll set my alarm clock early and be able to get up and watch this if they're go to launch. It's exciting stuff. I'm gonna light the candle on essentially the biggest rocket ever. It's going to be spectacular. But I don't think they're going to go out at maximum thrust because they don't have a payload on board. So it should be fun to watch, to see this thing go, and make it could be very, very spectacular, if you know what I mean. Because there's no guarantee of success that this thing even gets off the pad, but I'm pretty sure it will. It's a great article over on Lifehacker talking about all the ways your bank will try to rip you off, and this it just goes on and on. Courtesy pay, reordering transactions, encouraging debit use, bait and switch rates, delaying deposits, prepayment penalties, unnecessary fees, just a whole bunch of stuff. And usually banks that prey on people are often people that maybe are at the lower economic level and, live paycheck to paycheck, and, try to float some money between paydays. And that today doesn't work real well because everything's pretty much instantaneous. Of course, with this new federal digital dollar that's coming, which we need to all stand up and say no to, which will track everything that we get, every dime that we spend. We have to be they're trying to get rid of cash. I'm just telling you that. It's coming. But, and banks will find another way to rip us off. Or maybe the Federal Reserve will just bypass banks. I don't know. If you live in an area that has a new internet service provider called Ziply, Ziply, they've unleashed 10 gigabit internet. This is true 10 gig symmetrical service. Ziply Fiber, a regional internet service provider serving the Northwest, since acquiring operations in the area from Frontier Communications, has added impressive new speed to its list of fiber internet plans. 10 gig symmetrical. And they announced on April 10th at 10:10 a.m. And what is it going to cost? Does it say? It isn't. It is not inexpensive. $300 per month. Now that's quite a chunk of change from home internet service, but it's actually among the lowest cost per megabit on the market. There's also a $300 installation fee, and should you opt to rent your router, a $10 monthly rental fee. Like other fiber plans, there's no contracts or data cap. My goodness, that would be amazing. 10 gigs both ways. I'd just like to have 1 gig both ways, but on a business connection, I can't even imagine what the provider here would charge me for that. So we plug along at the speed we have. But wow, and that's just amazing. 10 gigs. And I think I'm happy with 20 megs upload. Domino's now lets you order pizza via your Apple CarPlay, so you can pick up your pizza faster on your way home from work. ordering a pizza online, tap to order, which instantly signals your main store to start making your favorite order for pickup. Oh, so if you have a favorite order in your profile, you just click to order. And I don't necessarily have a favorite order, and I don't even have a Domino's in my town. We have a Pizza Hut and a Caesars. That's it. And I haven't ate pizza in 30 years from Caesars. And someone told me that was pretty good. I, has anyone had a Caesars pizza lately? I'll be honest, I haven't ate Caesars in probably 30, 35 years. And before, it was horrible. I, some people say they like it better than Pizza Hut. What say you? geeknews@gmail.com. Elizabeth Warren, AOC, Elizabeth Warren and AOC have asked SVB depositors to detail their ties to the bank. She sent letters, or they sent letters to 14 of the largest depositors with Silicon Valley Bank, and they want to know their relationship. They asked questions about the nature of their connection. Those included the length of their relationship, the amount of money they had deposited. They've been vocal critics of SVB and its executives. They also want to know whether board members, executives, or investors have received special benefits, such as line of credit. In particular, lawmakers introduced reports that said SVB coddled some of its larger venture capitalists and showered them with special perks. And in return, the VC firms gave the bank access to huge unsecured sources of short-term funding. The lawmakers asked for the answers to these questions by April 24th. So they're saying, and I would agree, that Silicon Valley Bank's unusually cozy relationship with its clients increased the threat of contagion when the bank went under. The American people deserve to know, according to Senator Warren, how these mutual back-scratching agreements developed, who benefited from them, and what role they played in SVB's failure. The 14 firms that received letters are Circle, Bill, BlockFi, Tiger, Ginkgo Bioworks, iRhythm Technologies, Lending Club Corp, Oncourse Inc., Payoneer Global Inc., Protagonist Therapeutics, Roblox Corp., Rocket Lab USA, Roku, and Sangamo Therapeutics. A Roblox spokesperson sent an email. The company received a letter, and consistent with our processes, we'll be applying in a timely manner. The other 13 companies didn't immediately respond to requests. So we'll see. We'll see what they dig up, and I'm sure they're going to dig up some cool stuff. Over at the Daily Mail, explore the red planet like never before. NASA's released an incredible interactive map that lets you traverse Mars cliff sides, impact planers, and dust devil tracks. So again, another way to navigate Mars and see different places on the planet that you may not have seen before. We're starting to see a lot of this interactive stuff kind of pop up. So I just put Gus of the Spirit rovers track. So what did they put over here? They're sending me to a crater where Spirit is. Is that what they're doing? So anyway, you can see around Mars in this interactive map. Looks cooler than the other one. Link will be up in the show notes. A 250-foot asteroid is speeding towards Earth. NASA clocks Terra rocket through 38,102 kilometers per hour. And I don't know if this is just buzz on the word. I don't know, because they usually refer to speed in some sort of, 10 to the 8th power or some crazy number like that. But this one will pass on April 11th, tomorrow, and within 4.6 million miles of Earth. So what did we do many years ago, and we never had an idea things were getting that close to us? We just kind of, hope for the best. I think so. Canada proposed to develop a robotic lunar rover for Artemis. Canadian astronaut Jeremy Haynes, among the members of Artemis 2 crew, announced April 3rd will be making his first space flight. Of course, he's was announced, but Canada secured the seat on Artemis 2 as well as a later unspecified Artemis mission to the Lunar Gateway. in exchange for providing the Canadian Arm 3 robotic arm system for the Gateway. And it is not lost on any of us that the United States could choose to go back to the moon by themselves. The astronaut said in a statement in the remarks at a ceremony where he and the other Artemis 2 astronauts were announced. All of Canada is grateful for the global mindset. But yeah, they're thinking about doing a rover. And of course, there's another company that's going to send a rover independently to Mars. Excuse me, to the moon aboard SpaceX. Of course, the JUICE spacecraft 8, excuse me, not 8, the JUICE spacecraft is set to blast off this coming Thursday on an 8-year journey to Jupiter. And you may wonder, why is it going to take so long? Normally it takes maybe a couple of years to get out to Jupiter. Well, it's all about gravity, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a very detailed article over on space.com that explains the route it's going to take, the gravity boost it's going to achieve, and what it needs to basically get there in one piece and establish an orbit. So, talking about the inner planets giving JUICE a hand, and this is why it's going to take a bit longer. And of course, it's going to have actually 2 gravity boosts from Earth itself. So, link will be up in the show notes on that. Last night, if you had clear eyes in the sky, parts of Michigan had northern lights over the entire Great Lakes region. I did not see anything last night. I was up pretty late. So they did not get down in my area, or at least I did not notice. But there was pictures from space showing it. So looking on the map here, it just doesn't look like it came down much into maybe even the Upper Peninsula. But anyway, link is up in the show notes for those of you that are in the area to be able to see the aurora borealis. Apple has released last week security patches for older iPhones, iPads, and Macs. If you have iOS 17.5, Mac OS 12.6.5, and 11.6. So these are actively exploited security holes. They have been patched, so make sure you update when your device lets you know it's available. YouTube Premium adds more perks with share play support and higher quality videos and more. Those of you that pay for YouTube Premium at $11.99 a month for the ad-free version, announcing a number of new features. Most notably, the subscription plan will now include higher quality video for web and iOS users, support for co-watching videos on FaceTime through Apple SharePlay, and other controls for managing your queue on mobile device. I rarely watch YouTube on my mobile device. I usually watch YouTube on my television. Worldwide, and they do a horrible job. You can't get to any of the links. You can't get to any of the shared stuff. You have to get on your computer to find that. I wish the television version had a way to see that other stuff, but they don't. Engadget's also talking about the worldwide PC shipments and how it plunged. And they duplicate some of the data that has been talked about in the article I talked about earlier. There's a note of caution. IDC warns that the PC industry could be in for a slog if recession continues into 2024. Although the sharpest declines may be over, it could take a long time for the market to bounce back. Don't be surprised brands play it relatively safe with computers they know and are likely to sell rather than experimenting with unusual designs. In other words, they're going to stay with the gear they have as long as they can. And buying new PCs isn't really feasible when a lot of things we're doing today just needs a browser. I spend 90% of my time day after day in a browser, never leaving it. I do a series of Adobe products, but that's probably the extent of my external apps I use these days. A museum has created a giant Donkey Kong, and I mean giant Donkey Kong cabinet with a little help from Nintendo. It's 20 foot tall, and it's available for people to actually play, which is kind of surprising. Then the Strong National Museum of Play in New York unveiled an absolutely massive Donkey Kong arcade. Donkey Kong is co-starring in the biggest movie in the world right now, so it's only fitting that he also gets an equally gargantuan arcade cabinet. Now, talk about an interesting movie. If you have an Apple TV, Tetris movie is absolutely fantastic. To watch that and to see what happened is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to give it away, but imagine going to Russia in the 70s and 80s and trying to before the wall fell and trying to negotiate a license for Tetris by a very corrupt government. Just leave it at that. And the battle that played out between Atari, Nintendo, some other big companies. Um, it's a really good movie, and definitely check it out. Tetris on your Apple TV. Baidu has sued Apple and anyone else in sight over Ernie chatbot fakes. Someone in China is upset its tech was ripped off. Quite the irony, really. Baidu has sued Apple and some app makers after what said to be fake copies of the Chinese web giant Ernie AI chatbot that appeared in the iGiant App Store. For those unaware, Ernie is Baidu's answer to the West ChatGPT, though right now it's only available in a limited preview to those with test accounts. There are, according to Baidu, no official releases of the chatbot, but currently there's no official app. But in late March, Baidu also took to Weibo to complain some websites and internet communities were selling access to test versions of Ernie for profit, which the search giant said seriously affect the normal testing order of Ernie, harms the user experience, and violates Ernie test rules and relevant laws and regulations. Well, it's interesting to see a Chinese company being taken to task and being ripped off, just like American companies have for many, many years. Surprise, surprise, surprise. And I bet you the Chinese people, the Chinese workers that are working there, probably stealing everything blind. Those are the ones probably making stuff available. That would be my best guess. According to Politico, Twitter fails to report some political ads after promising transparency. After the platform started accepting political ads in January. So they say Twitter's failed to disclose some ads, and they went through and found some. Tweets identified by, including Council Senator John Fetterman, Representative Elsie Stefanik, and Adam Frisch. So a little bit of Republican, a little bit of Democrat, had some ads, and they weren't reported. And they say this is going to raise seeds of doubt about what's going to happen in 2024. Well, both sides can equally abuse it, yes. Cruise, the company, has admitted a software fix after a self-driving car slammed into a bus. On March 23rd, one of the upstairs driverless vehicles hit a municipal transit authority bus. When the car failed to detect the bus, it accelerated and didn't brake in time. Nobody was injured in the accident. The car, which didn't have a human at the wheel and was under computer control, suffered minor damage to its front fender. Cruise launched an investigation into the accident and discovered its autonomous vehicle struggled to correctly predict the Mooney bus's driving behavior due to its bendy shape. Articulated buses like those in San Francisco have a stretch accordion-like structure in the middle that connects two carriages. When the bus pulled in front of Cruise's self-driving car and slowed down, the AI-powered vehicle incorrectly assumed the bus was still charging ahead and wrongly predicted the motion of the rear carriage. The car continued to drive normally and failed to brake required, causing it to whack into the back of the bus. So, anyway, tweaking the software. The Super Mario's movie set box office records as the highest grossing video game movie. Global sales reach over 377 million, overtaking Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The Super Mario Brothers movie. I didn't even know this was out. I don't think I'd care to go see it. But again, hit 146 global sales 377 million, 146 million domestically. So this is the newest film is available in 3D IMAX and other premium formats, which made up to 38% of the sales. So it's not just animated and video game movies. It's stacking up against the Super Mario Brothers movie had the historical third highest Easter weekend sales after Batman versus Superman, 181 million, and Furious the 7's 161 that happened before. All right, link will be in the show. Elon Musk said he's going to build a new battery factory in Shanghai. Another factory going to China. The plant in Shanghai will produce 10,000 of its Megapack energy storage units a year. A Megapack is a very large battery. It can be used to help stabilize energy grids and prevent power outages. Tesla already has a Megapack plant in California, which also produces 10,000s of the units per year. Musk said on Twitter the Chinese plant will be in addition to the Tesla's U.S. factory. Of course, China is the biggest producer of batteries, which Tesla will be able to tap into to increase production and lower costs. This announcement came as the U.S. wants companies to be less reliant on China. But yet, you know that a lot of the stuff that's used in batteries is either like mined in Canada, shipped to a certain location, shipped 3 or 4 different locations before it finally ends up in a battery in a car. Yep, real energy efficient. Samsung is going to cut chip production after profits plunge 96%. The chip-making giant said sales had dropped sharply. Samsung preliminary numbers showed an operating profit fell to 600 billion won, which is 366 million in January to March, from 14 trillion won the previous year. We're lowering the production of memory chips by a meaningful level, especially that of products with supply secured. Demand for memory chips ramped up during COVID. The industry is now recovering from a chip shortage over the past couple of years, but many semiconductor manufacturers are struggling to find a balance between their inventories and current demand. So it's like a bullwhip. You need them, you don't. You need them, you don't. You need them, you don't. NASA Space Hubble Telescope spots a runaway black hole creating trail of stars. We've talked about this black hole, but we haven't talked about the stars it's creating. The black hole, weighing as much as 20 million suns, is traveling through space so fast that if it were in our solar system, it could travel from Earth to the moon in 14 minutes. And it's leaving behind a 200,000 light year contrail of stars. The black hole is leaving behind is approximately twice the diameter of Milky Way. NASA says the phenomenon is likely the result of a game of galactic billiards among 3 massive black holes. What we're seeing is the aftermath, like the wake of a ship. We're seeing the wake behind the black hole. The trail must have a lot of new stars, given that it's almost half as bright as the host galaxy it's linked to. So, this is something they just found out of a very old Hubble image. So, stuff is still in there. They just got to dig through all that stuff. And finally, tonight, it turns out people don't like being talked to by machines. AI chat comes at the social cost by putting words in your mouth. So if you're using any type of assist on replying in chat and it looks too generic, if people figure it out, they think less of you. You know how you got those auto email replies and stuff like that? I never use those because they're like a 3-word thing. Okay, thank you. Yes, I got it. Yes, please do that. No, thank you. Just type your regular reply. People say they hold you less accountable. Basically, they think less of you. So that's interesting. Interesting. What will happen now with everyone using ChatGPT? Will people that use ChatGPT be thought of as less smart, or were they more smart to be able to write smarter than they actually could write themselves? Oh, that's a good question. Hey, we did have a comment or two come in. Let me get to those emails. Let me get to that. Let's see here. My wrong inbox. There we go. We got the right inbox. I got an email from Ron. Hey, Todd. And this is from Ron. Just getting around to listening, and I agree with Sam's comment. Your menu item says become a G Insider. I think if you modify it to say become a G Insider donate, it would be more obvious. Well, that's a good point, Ron. So maybe I'll change that. Also, I got an email. Oh, Sam sent me a link to a company for some service. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. I'm going to definitely check them out. So, Sam and Ron, thanks for sending your email through. You know, we got Ron, Sam, Dan, Greg, Sasha, Jim, another Dan, Barry, Darren. You guys are the ones sending emails to the show. Andrew, Christian, Greg, Albert, Tim, Tom, Bob, all you guys. Thank you for sending emails to the show. Definitely appreciate it. And the volume's up a little bit. I do appreciate that as well. And again, we have been lit and live using the new podcasting technology known as Podcasting 2.0. I hope you're joining the evolution for the revolution with us, getting off and not use a legacy podcast app. Go over to podcastapps.com. Pick yourself up a Fountain or Podverse, Captivate. Try these new apps. Give feedback to the developers. Tell them what you like, what you don't like, where they need to polish. Just be an active participant. If you're not going to boost, try these new apps and at least tell the developers, this is why I don't like your app. It doesn't do this because my other app does. Or try some new things. That's what we want you to do. We want you to get involved here on the listener side of the ecosystem, because there's more stuff coming soon where we're going to be putting in place functions where you're going to be able to chat in these apps, basically cross apps. Cross app comments is coming, where you'll be able to comment in one app and that conversation will be duplicated on other apps so people can respond. Our goal is to keep you in the app, but keep you in apps that are cool and advanced podcasts, not the status quo, not Spotify that does their own thing, not Apple Podcasts that doesn't keep up with these new stuff, all right? Or Google Podcasts that doesn't have nary a clue. We understand you use other podcasting apps to do different things. Give one of these new podcast apps a try at podcastapps.com. Again, I like Fountain myself. I'm using it almost exclusively now for almost all my shows, especially every Podcasting 2.0 show. And because that's really one of the few apps I can interact and do cool things with. Send a boostagram. You don't know what that is? Get yourself a Fountain app. Put $10 on your debit card and get some sats. Or just use Fountain and earn some sats to be able to donate back to the show. And more coming on that too. So definitely appreciate it, because at some point I'm going to start actually putting money into those apps that when you listen to the show, you'll actually earn to listen. Podfriend is a new site too that's out, and or Podfan, excuse me. So I'll talk about them at some point in the near future as well. All right, it's been my pleasure to bring you the podcast tonight. Thank you much for being here. Geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. @geeknews is the Twitter account. We thank you for listening. We thank you for boosting. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for the support of the sponsors. And of course, for those of you that are insiders, they're putting in $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month. We thank you from the bottom of our heart. Definitely appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, you can still send a PayPal. All right, everyone, take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geek Center podcast. Take care. We'll see you back after NAB. Have a great week. Be safe. See you later.